we are going to take a tour of your album, which is called Late Nights and Early Mornings.
Yes.
From start to finish.
You know, albums are rare these days. I mean, many people have a lot of nice songs on one album, but to create something that is cohesive and plays from beginning to end was my intention for Late Nights and Early Mornings. As it is very conceptual, I wanted something that felt like I spent long late nights in the studio recording it, and then, you know, only to get up and, you know, early morning the next day to, you know, start my day all the way over again. So it kind of has that feel overall to me, and I love it.
Well, let's go. And I love the intro, too. That's one thing about it. When you love the intros and every single song, it's a problem, because when you take over, that means we just got to play everything.
Right, and that's why I love it. I guess one of my favorite songs on the album is the intro, because it does set you up for where the album takes you. And it's just, you know, me on the piano and the strings and the harps, and I created a wind and a rainstorm to kind of put you there, and it just makes sense.
Well, here's Anticipation. Marsha Ambrosius is in the studio. She is taking over middays, and your girl Ramona DeBro, I don't mind, so let's do it. Wow, I love Anticipation. That's just the intro, so we're going to dig deep into this album. With You is the next record.
Yes, and it makes perfect sense going from Anticipation into With You. And I did that intentionally, as I think the way the melodies kind of flow together, it was like, oh, these two songs get married.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I married them, and it sounds like one continuous song. And I know a lot of people that have the album now have like hit me up on Facebook or Twitter and say that they can't get past playing Anticipation and With You on repeat. I'm like, I just play those two back to back, back to back, back to back. And then in living with the album, they realized that after that is Late Nights and Early Mornings, and is Hope She Cheats, and is Far Away, and Your Hands, and Lose Myself. And they're like, I really had to play it back to back, back to back to really understand what was happening here. It was like, wow, you have an album, and there's only so much I can brag about on my end, because it is my album.
We'll do the bragging for you. Here's With You on V-103. Okay, that was With You. Marsha Ambrosius is in the studio. It is the Takeover.
Taking over.
Okay, so let's get this. You're from where in England?
Liverpool, England. I was born and raised in London, but most of my family is still in Liverpool.
So you hopped the pond and you came to V103, and we're excited about this.
Yes.
I did have a chance to go to England. What an interesting place, and so expensive as an American.
Very
oh my
much
goodness.
so. I think that's why I found comfort in staying over here. It's less expensive. However, you know, when it is expensive, it is. But yes, the UK definitely have it a little harder.
Well, I didn't realize that it was not the euro, it was the pound, until I went to McDonald's in England.
Oh, yeah.
And it gave me the conversion, and my Big Mac was $7. I was like,
Right.
whoa,
Exactly.
wait. It said $3
And I tell
something.
people that all
It's like
the time.
double.
As soon as you figure out what, you know, your Big Mac meal costs versus, you know, being over here, you realize the price difference in everything.
Wow.
Like, that's from a pint of milk, that's for, you know, a pound of sugar. Like, it's everything is that much more expensive.
Is it true that folks come over here to go shopping for Christmas?
Oh, most definitely.
Really?
And I'm thankful that I get to be over here to do that. Like, definitely. Shopping sprees, yes.
Well, let's get into the title track of the album, Late Nights and Early Mornings.
Yes.
Okay. Marsha, you go ahead and introduce it.
V103, this is Marsha Ambrosius, and you're listening to Late Nights and Early Mornings.
Okay, just heard the title track from Marsha Ambrosius.
Yes.
I love your name. It just reminds me of some type of elixir the gods used to, you know, like feed the men, and then they would just
my
be
name
all...
does derive from that. It's from the Greek gods, Ambrosia. And then that's Ambrosius, which I get from my father's side. Apparently,
So it's a real name.
It is. I didn't make this up. This
Just
isn't something I would, if I were to choose a fake name, it probably would, you know, a lot of people choose two first names, or, you know, something a little bit more standard. What would your fake name
be if that wasn't your name?
Mary Poppins
Mary
or something.
Poppins?
Yeah. Like, I'm supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
She was kind of cool, though.
She was very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And yeah, I guess if I were to make up a name, it would be something more standard where people wouldn't have to ask me how to pronounce it or how do I spell
trust
it.
me,
It's like,
Ramona
look,
DeBro, hello, that is my real name. And people like, I thought it was the man. Like we had Omari Hardwick in here.
See.
And he's like, that's your name. Like he was amazed.
Yeah, not mine.
Like,
right. So it's not
French?
mine, AKA. It's not, an alias. It's actually on my passport and birth certificate.
When you graduate, you have to hand the mayor the correct pronunciation of your name. It's like, duh, bro. Yeah. Right. So I get it. Trust me on that.
Well, there we are. We have something in common.
Okay, now let's
complex
talk about this.
Names.
Now this song right here, Hope She Cheats on You with a Basketball Player.
Funny.
I'm not bitter, but I'm bitter. Hello.
We've all been in that place, though. And I think for me, I've never been shy about writing honesty and honestly. So with this record, I do come from a basketball background. I had played before, and my father was a coach. And prior to doing music, that was my life. My first boyfriend was a basketball player. My first crush, Chris Webber, basketball player. So I figured when a friend of mine went through a bad breakup, the initial reaction was, no, I'm not going to be happy for this other person's situation. I'm going to be a little bitter, and I want the worst to happen to you. So I want to sting the male ego, and the only way to do so is to threaten with a $100 million making 6'9" fine thing.
Wow.
That will make you feel some type of way if they were with your girls.
Because guys do feel a type of way about someone they feel has more than them.
Of course.
Because they
that
talk
was
about
my
it all the time.
whole spin on it. It was a very playful, quirky way of putting things. And I think when people caught onto that, it was like, wow, she really said that. And I'm like, yes, I did. I'm a little bitter sometimes. And now that I've got all that off my chest, I feel so much better.
Well, here it is. Hope She Cheats on You with a basketball player or football player or whatever.
Either way,
hello.
He just makes more money than you. And he's
just hurt.
taller than you. And he's finer than you.
Yes. I love it. On V-103. Okay, now that was Hope She Cheats on You with a basketball player, Marsha Ambrosius, in the studio. This is Marsha Ambrosius Radio.
Taking over. The British invasion.
I love it. We had Kem invade before.
Nice.
And that was really nice. He just soothed me. I thought I was going to by the end of the takeover, I was like this.
Aw.
Can you
we
sing
worked together
to me?
a long time ago on his first project, Love Calls, did a remix with him, and that was so much fun.
Wow.
He's really cool. Yeah.
You've worked with so many people, including
really
Michael Jackson, which
have.
leads me to this next song. There are people who say that Far Away is dedicated to Michael Jackson. And it's because of the lyrics. And a lot of people say, she has to be talking about Michael Jackson. Monique that works here said, it sounds like Michael Jackson. She's referring to him.
I'm glad that people caught onto that, as the song was recorded in the same studio that we last spoke to each other in LA, a record plant. And in recording the record, I definitely felt that nostalgia, and it was melancholy, and it was, wow, he's not here anymore.
So
and,
it was
very weird.
A decade to the day that your album actually came out,
that we worked together.
Yeah,
that was the first meeting in March of 2001, and then March of 2011, my album comes out, and yes, the remix is on there to commemorate that moment. And in creating Far Away, it's crazy. He hadn't passed yet when I wrote the record. It was just that I was in the studio, and I was like, wow. A couple of years later, I didn't see that coming, and when it happened, I was, of course, distraught like the rest of the world. But I'd always written in my iTunes when I had the demo, because I wrote it alongside Sterling Sims, and Just Blaze produced it in 2008. I always had featuring Michael Jackson. I wanted him to do the backgrounds with me at the end and the outro, and I can't bring myself to delete that from my version of the album on my iTunes, even though we didn't get to finish. But another record on the album, I Want You to Stay, was the same way. That was the record I actually wrote for him, but we didn't get to complete that, as the week I was flying out to the UK when he started his tour, it was the week that he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so what is your fondest memory? I know we had you on the phone before.
Just him joking around the studio. It was always funny. And his laugh was so infectious. And I remember him just telling me that, if this was the beginning of my career, because I was always on my, oh my goodness, I'm not worthy. I am not worthy to be here. And he was like, no, you are. And imagine if this is your, beginning, imagine where you're going to go. I was like, you know what, Michael, you're absolutely right. And his engineer referred to me as a singing heifer.
Oh my goodness.
And Michael would be like, do you know that that's a cow? You know that's a cow. You know you're calling her a cow, right?
Michael was
I was like, Michael. He was like, stop calling her a heifer. It's horrible.
It's horrible. It's
I
just so
used to
funny
just
to
laugh.
hear these stories. Like Michael Jackson loved Kentucky Fried Chicken. He would
Right.
have someone go out and get a bucket.
He was
you know,
serious.
and just to hear the jokes and it's
Yeah,
Wow.
he was an amazing person, and to be one of the very few people that got to be around him to experience that is a blessing.
well. Here's Far Away, Marsha Ambrosius. Wow, V103.